Yes. Alrighty. Okay, so we're recording. Okay, so welcome everyone. I'm your host, Jeni Ji Cousins, and this is Soul to Soul Connections with Jeni Ji. So see all the shows, please subscribe to my YouTube channel to catch all episodes. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook under Jeni Cousins. Now, on today's show, please welcome my guest, Adam Schomer. He is an award-winning film and documentary film producer at I2I Productions. He is an actor, writer, and film producer, and Adam is known for amazing films, as I shall say, such as The Highest Pass, Heel documentary, Woman of the White Buffalo, The Road to Dharma, and he is also a Hathya yoga and meditation teacher, plus so much more. So thank you, Adam, for taking the time to chat with me today. I am truly grateful to have you.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here, Jay Ganesha. Ganesha behind you.
Yeah,
Nice to speak with you and everybody. So let's have at it. I'm always eager to talk about these films and adventures and share anything I've learned if it could be of help to anybody. So happy to share it.
well, that's why I had to have you on here, because honestly, like, I love all of your work. I connect to all of it, like all of it. So, and I'm like, okay, I gotta talk to Adam, right? Like, just have to.
Thanks, Jay.
So let me ask you, like, what drew you into making films, like getting into that?
Yeah, I wasn't one of those kids that from a young age was like, oh, I'll be a filmmaker for sure. But I do remember when I was like 8, 9, 10, my neighbor Billy Schutzel would make stop motion videos with his hamsters and like fake fires. And I always remember watching those videos in his made up theater in his basement thinking, this is cool. I'd love to do that. But to be honest, it wasn't until my late 20s that I started getting into comedy, improv comedy, which is very much the yoga of comedy. It's yes-anding, it's being in the moment, it's dropping your ideas, it's very yogic, it's team oriented. So I loved how my world started to come together because I had been studying yoga since I was 18. Yoga meaning meditation. My cats are fighting in the background.
Okay.
That's part of yoga. I love that. Fighting is great. So it was started with comedy, started coming in with the improv comedy. I was writing a lot, writing comedy scripts, screenplays, TV shows. I did a children's book, children's TV show, webisodes, and eventually came out to LA to really push it and then furthered the yogic studies and started going to India and studying with Anand, my guru in Rishikesh. And then on one of those fateful trips, he said, hey, do you want to ride motorcycles over the Himalayas, over the highest road of the world? And I just made myself say yes. As you know, I had never ridden a motorcycle, and that was the beginning, to answer your question, of documentary films. So I had a big history in performance and narrative writing, fictional writing, and I really take that into the documentaries I do because they tend to have a lot of adventure, like The Highest Pass, like The Road to Dharma, even Heal. Like we want to follow somebody going in through a journey. That's my narrative background. I tend not to make like bio docs or,
Hmm.
very factual, ancient alien hunters or whatever. So it's more adventure, more a narrative through line. I like to see something happening. I like to be open to the mystery, much like yourself. Like what's going to be whispered to us while we're on this shoot? What's going to happen? There's a real fun to that. And then you play with it in post production. That's the cool thing about documentary. As much as it's true, there's also poetry to it. We're giving our slant to what happened and telling it in a certain way. And I learned that making my first documentary. Like one of my mentors said, "Hey, man, it's all poetry. Even though it's documentary, it's still art. It's still poetry, and there is a license to not make anything up, but portray it in a certain way that helps people understand what you went through." Anyway, that's a kind of a long answer to then 10 years later, 10 years of documentary films, and here we are in 2021.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's interesting because it's like going with the flow and you have your film, kind of, okay, I want to do this. And then all of these little things can come up, of course, right? And you're like, well, that's so cool. We're going to add that in or whatever, right?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. That's when you're filming The Road to Dharma. So that's the 10 episode doc series, motorcycling through the Himalayas for people that haven't seen it.
Oh,
Fascinating. It's a heart-pounding adventure, but it's characters that you can vibe with and follow throughout the series and empathize with. So that you don't know what anyone's going to go through. We didn't cast it like a reality
Oh,
show.
oh
It's
no.
people that were coming on a trip and we're get to follow. But you're just open to like who's going through something right now. Let's talk to them tonight, or who has an accident, or yeah,
Yeah.
you're really that's the kind the fun of it is you're crafting the show while you're there and understanding what storylines might be hitting and making decisions on the fly, and then you never know what it's going to look like in
Oh,
post. But I remember looking back, and I had recorded myself as a director, just to like my own diary camp, saying, "I think this will be in episode 5, and this is what's going to be happening." And that's really hard to know like what episode it's going to be because you're filming a 4-week journey, and it ended up being exactly that. And that kind of stuff blows my mind because you're getting downloads and you're just in the flow and getting information, and that's the cool thing about what can happen on documentary shoots, where you're just open to what's being shown. Yeah.
I mean, I love your work because it's very authentic. It's
Yeah.
very real, right? And
Yeah.
I'm very drawn to authentic people and stuff like that. And that's one of the many reasons why I follow your work, because I connect with all of it, like the energy, the vibe, the photography, the music, the scenery, and I'm just like, wow. And I've watched it like 100 million times, and I will continue to watch it 100 million times, right?
It's cool. Yeah, no, it's cool. And the Road to Dharma is very authentic. It really
Yeah,
is. These are
yeah,
real people on real
yeah,
adventure that want something to be more free in their life, either their whole life or some aspect. And it's not overproduced. And
no.
you
Mhm.
get that feeling. Like you still get the scariness because you have to edit that in to give someone a feel for like how dangerous the roads are. But and so that's not overproducing. If anything, it's underproducing. You can't convey how the feeling of how dangerous it is. But I really it really starts to sink in. I think episode 3 and get slower and get deeper, and then you really take this journey with people on a pilgrimage to places you'll probably never go in your life, right? So it better be authentic and not
Yeah,
cheesed out. Like, no offense to Discovery, but Discovery, and some of those guys nowadays just cheese everything out
yeah,
with the
yeah.
music and the over voiceover and the blah blah blah. So that I couldn't do that. I never will, and I never want to.
No, exactly. Like even the music, I love all the artists. I chant every day, and
Yeah.
all the music, like it's every day, and I'm like, oh, I know that song, I know that artist. Oh, and like everybody, anytime I'm watching, I'm just kind of jiving with it, right? And I'm like, this is so awesome,
Yeah,
so awesome for
We
you.
got Jai Uttal in there. We got Krishna Das in there. We got Wah in there. We
Oh,
got Saul David Ray in there. We
yes,
put some songs in the end credits that are like the unknown
yeah,
people like Rama and Prema who do some rapping. We slipped in some cool stuff, and then of course Michael Malura, the composer, always
yeah.
he does all my films. So I'm going to see him tonight. Actually, we're going to do a Deepak Chopra meditation.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's
That's
gonna be
awesome.
it's gonna be friends with the people that you work with.
Yeah, yeah, it's like that family, and that's what I found too. Like even filming, you connect with your production crew, and they're like that family vibe, that family energy, and that's what I miss actually when I was filming at Shaw, was that family connection every week. So how
Absolutely.
did you come up with the name I2I Productions?
It was because it was back in the early 2000s that I really started that company. Back then, it wasn't production; it was just my company. Um, and there was like the B2B, Y2K, that was going on. That was in my mind, but really the essence underneath it was I to I, meaning I want to approach everyone as an extension of myself, treat them the way I treat myself or better. And then likewise for my employees and people that were working with me then was I had a soccer company. We taught kids and all that. I wanted people that worked for me to give them whatever opportunity they wanted. I knew it was always a stepping stone. So to look at them as like, hey, how can this business, is there anything you want to learn or do? I can give you more responsibility, or is there somewhere else I can help you get to can I help you leave my company? Right. So much like I'd want to grow, I just wanted to help those people take the next level and step. So that's where it came from, approaching people like myself, eye to eye.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Because
Yeah.
I came across you way back when I was living in Ireland. And it's so cool how it happened. right? I'm like, okay, spirit, give me a sign with things. And all of a sudden I came across Anand and you. And when I watched The Highest Pass, I'm like, who is this Adam character? Right? Like, and then that's when I started following your work and I'm like, oh, this is so amazing. Right? Like, I really love it. I really love it. So what made you really create like your films? Like it just kind of happened, came into it, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, The Highest Pass, Anand said, "Do you want to come on this journey?" And I said yes, because going to the Himalayas with a guru was a dream. And it had to be on motorcycle, so I was going to have to offer something up, right? My fear of death, everything. So that was the first film, first featured doc I made, The Highest Pass. That set the stage for then making the Road to Dharma, which I wanted to do something deeper and more like a series. I shouldn't say deeper, just longer. I wanted more
Yeah.
content for the audience. But The Highest Pass is such an experience because it gave me this feeling as a filmmaker too that I can do anything, because
Yeah.
it was so difficult and so scary and so much all at once, and learning so much all at once, that it didn't embody me with a faith. And right after that, I went and did my second film, which was in Kazakhstan in a nuclear test area. That was called The
Oh, so
Polygon, and it's very, very moving. Again, beautifully shot film, and we end up it's terrible story in many ways. The testing, you can imagine, that happened here in the U.S. You can imagine testing nuclear bombs, 400 tests, and not really caring about your citizens, what happens. But we wanted to highlight what the people were doing as a village to help each other also, and the strength of the human character. So again, I like social issues, but I'm not looking to scare people, so to speak, or bring us down. I want to show how we can rise up, empowerment. So a lot of times these films just come to me. This was a friend, Kimberly Joseph, who had this film, so I co-directed with her. Another film I did was someone brought to me and said, "Can you direct it?" That was called One Little Pill. It was a new method
yeah.
for alcoholism, which I thought was beautiful, a new way to help people on the biological side, which I mean, as you know from Heal, like Heal
Yeah.
is not a film that says it's all woo-woo or it's all emotional. It's saying, hey, we need to look holistically at many solutions and treatments and treat the whole body. Similar with this One Little Pill film about alcoholism, it's saying, sure, we have to get the emotional and the spiritual, but there's a physical element where we can help people on the addictive side. There is a way to help people like that so they can do the other work more efficiently, which I thought was super cool. Anytime, like, gosh, we're not going to talk about COVID, but anytime people are like, so dogmatic into this is the solution, and alcoholism happens to be all AA, it's like, well, let's open our scope a bit. That doesn't necessarily work for everybody. And so beating COVID, it's like maybe the vaccine doesn't work for everyone, and maybe there's other ways to look at it. Are there for certain people, other treatments or other ways to combat it? Anytime we get so dogmatic and say, this is it, and you're wrong if you're not there, we're in trouble. That's what happened with religion. That's what, and we're finally kind of coming out of that, I would say, in this day and age, of realizing that the religion shouldn't be the thing that separates us. Spirituality is taking off, which is more inclusive. Unless you're in LA, then all the yoga studios fight each other. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, they don't.
At least they're open.
I guess they are open here now.
Right.
But so the film journey has taken a lot of different. Sometimes a project comes to me with somebody. Sometimes it's just a flow. Like I'm helping the Fantastic Fungi team run a summit. That's a beautiful film, Fantastic Fungi. I didn't help make the film, but I'm helping them do a broader summit with 50 experts, and Deepak Chopra and Mark Hyman, a lot of people. So sometimes an opportunity comes and it's the right topic. Fungi, I think, is a beautiful topic. Or like Heal, when Kelly approached me with Heal and just the power to heal with our emotions and our thoughts, it's like, this is the right
That was
intention.
amazing.
So I produced that film, and so sometimes it's my own baby, sometimes it's other people's babies, but either way, I really love the nonfiction space, and I love to be mixing entertainment with empowering messaging, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just keep listening, keep floating along.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everything just really comes together in alignment. I mean, like I surrender absolutely everything. Like every single thing I surrender, and I
Yeah.
don't attach to anything, and I just go with the flow, whatever. And I don't like regardless of what, and I don't think anything of it. Right?
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh,
that's a skill. That's a talent. Yeah, that's a talent.
like I have for years, like for many reasons being, but I learned that the hard way, and then it was the only way.
Mhm.
Right? and it's been really good. Like that's the only way I go through things, right? So who were like your main mentors, like teachers who really inspired you?
As on film or in yoga
Anything,
or
anything.
any, well, Anand, who
Yeah.
is, in Road to Dharma in the highest pass, he's a great inspiration, and not from, I mean, from many levels, but just as a human and how he lives, because he's quote unquote risky or in the world and takes adventure and has a motorcycle and lives, he's in the world. And I like that Vajrayana type of teaching, that tantric teaching of let's use life, let's to grow, let's not deny life, let's be in it, let's embrace the emotions, the shadows, and see what comes up. So I like that because I'm made to be here. I'm made to be human. And
Yeah.
I know not everyone maybe feels that way, but I know this time around, like it's about translating spirituality into humanness. So Anand is a beautiful teacher like that because it's applicable. Things are applicable to life. That's why I make the films I do. I mean, Deepak Chopra is actually an inspiration to me when I was 15. We were just reading one of his books in quantum physics. I know he has 1,000 books nowadays, but that book, Ageless Body, Timeless Mind, to me was very authentic and science-based and helped a science-minded kid, you know, crack open into spirituality. And that's super powerful that it could do that. And it was right around the time when, in my late teens, when I also tried mushrooms and such. And I think that had an impact all on pushing me toward meditation. And then meditation took me the adult path. So Chopra was a nice inspiration. That's why it's cool. I'm like going to see one of his events tonight, and that we got him in the movies. To then like years later meet the people and have them in your movies is really cool. To share the teachings of your teachers. Other than that, on the film side, I don't have many like icons that I've looked up to because I wasn't, like I said, as a child, I wasn't a film student and I wasn't in that. But Peter Rader is a dear friend of mine and mentor, and he did the film, produced the film Awake by Yogananda, and he helped me with the Highest Pass, with one of the edits of the Highest Pass and craft story. And I really appreciate his mind and his friendship. And he's always been there along my path too. He and his wife Paola have been great mentors in this conscious film space.
So you're also like a Hatha yoga teacher, meditation teacher. Like what drew you into like specifically like Hatha yoga? Because I know, of course, there's many modalities with yoga.
Yeah, I mean, I teach Sattva yoga, right? So Sattva really combining a lot of the pranayama and kriyas and movement and free movement and meditation and the asana practice. So I think being an athlete, one is I was a soccer player, all the way through like semi-professional, and so that drew me to the body and the power of just being in the body. But then really, pranayama and mantra now are really, to me, the more powerful thing. And so I love sharing that. Nowadays, I teach at the beach. Like I go
Oh,
to the
wow.
beach, and I'm close to the beach in Santa Monica, so I'll just go to the beach. I've had a lot of studios because I used to teach at studios, but a lot of studios ask, and I just like to be out on the beach
Yeah.
teaching, so it's free, and I invite friends locally and say, hey, these are the mornings I'm gonna go now. Come on out. We have a meditation at my house every Monday night. So I just like to create community nowadays. Yes, yes, I'm guiding and teaching, and I'm doing meditation initiations every 3-4 months. But I really like that I know that people need community. So I like doing the free events. I like having the free gatherings so people have a place to gather and meet each other. They don't necessarily have to like follow me or see me as a teacher. It's like come here and meditate. You might meet the person next to you that you really become friends with and hang with, and they inspire you. And or someone was going through anxiety and there happened to be a counselor on the Zoom call, and like she's like, I'll give you some free sessions. Like let me help you
Yeah.
out. And it's like,
Yeah.
cool. Let's have that rather than teacherness so much for me. So I love sharing it. I coached soccer since I was 15, so I think I was
Yeah.
born as a natural teacher. And
Past life.
yeah,
Past
so
life yogi comes through.
yeah, it comes through. I always love teaching kids, and so it's nice to. I think you learn a lot when you teach, right? You have to really embody it, and when you speak it out loud, something happens. I never wanted to teach yoga, and then Anand once said, "Hey, can you just substitute my class for me?" He was in India. He's like, "Just teach it for me. I'm busy." So I'm like, "I don't want to be a yoga teacher." He's like, "I'm not asking you to be a yoga teacher. I'm asking you to do me a favor. And I said, oh, okay, okay. Well, of course, I'll do you a favor. Oh my gosh, you've given so much. And then he said, oh, how was that? I was like, oh, I kind of liked it. He's like, why don't you do it again tomorrow? And then next thing you know,
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I come back, I'm teaching the LA Galaxy, I teach at studios, and now here we are on the beach. So
Because how many times have you been to India? Like it's like every year you go.
I try, yeah, it averages every year, maybe eight or
Yeah.
nine,
Yeah.
nine maybe. There's been some pause, like a couple of years here now for COVID, and a couple of years in between somewhere else. Yeah, I try to see the family every year. Yeah.
Oh, I know. I know. So like what do you think were like your biggest challenges? And like what did you learn from it?
From what?
From anything really.
From
Anything.
today, from today dealing with tech people, what did I
Yeah.
learn? I learned to, I can just tell you, no, honestly, like, because I'm dealing with a lot of tech stuff and this summit, and I think it's nice to talk about what's up, right? Talk about authentic. Uh, I learned that the mind wants to be really concerned, wants to give a little more drama to things than they necessarily have. And if you really actually rationally think through, it's like, does there need to be that much fear around that? What is it I'm actually afraid of? Oh, I'm afraid of the website breaking. Okay, what if it did? Really looking at what's actually at stake and the truth of it all, and just getting honest. And then it's like, oh, well, some of that's just timelines I've created, and maybe there's more flexibility there than I'm allowing. And why would I put myself into a state of like, we got to get this done when some of it's fake? So what I'm learning currently, with dealing with a lot of tech and a lot of different pieces moving, different than a film in a weird way.
Yeah. Oh, it
Is
is.
that,
Yeah.
and I need to check myself. I just need to continually check myself and ask if it's worth, not the word stress isn't right, but like being concerned about. Some things are worth being concerned about. They are. Like, oh, I got to move on this. I got to move my schedule. We got to figure this out. I got to work all night. Some things are worth being concerned about, and other things are not. So I think that just the reality check of what's worth that, and
Yeah.
and that's that. And then that's that. I got to work hard. Okay, and let's not put the extra stress on it. So that's what I'm learning right now, and also patience.
Yeah.
Patience, because I had to put a few of my projects aside just for a few months because I know I needed to do this with the Fun Guy
No,
team.
absolutely. And that's the thing, going with the flow, because you got to remember, like, as I see it, anyways, the only thing you have any control over is yourself, nothing else. Absolutely nothing else you have any control over,
Yes, Ganesha,
right?
right? We have control over our perception of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's why I surrender everything and I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm leaving that up to you, spirit. It's not my problem. It's now your problem. And, and whatever is best for my high self and purpose, it's going to happen regardless of what. And then I
Got
let it go. And then I walk the other direction. Simple. Right. And I don't hang on to what was,
That's
right?
good.
I just keep moving on, keep on moving on, right? So
That's
like I
beautiful.
know,
Beautiful
yeah,
practice. It really
yeah,
is. I mean, you could sit, listen to what she's saying. It's like the practice, birth and death
yeah,
in life,
yeah,
loss, and like, God, if you can get good at what you're talking about, like, hey, letting what happened happen and move to the next
yeah,
thing. If you can get good at that,
yeah.
that's a superpower.
Yeah, like and I kind of, because I had like long story short, like just so many people pass on me. Like I had 17 friends and family pass on me within a year and a half.
Holy cow.
And I mean, I had to deal with that all on my own, and I mean, I've been like, everybody calls me like the Tibetan Buddhist monk for years and years and years and years, for those who know me anyways. So like during that time, it's like you get forced into surrendering, like
Yeah.
everything, because it was literally like every Thursday morning for some reason, the second, because I turn my phone off at night now, right? But every morning I'd turn on my phone, let's say, and I'd get a new message, somebody has passed. And I'm like, what happened, right? So that's actually one of the reasons I went back to working at like the hospice on call, because I thought, you see things differently and actually help me heal through the whole grieving, like process and
By
everything
being
like
with
that.
death, you're saying by seeing death so often, you get
So
to.
many, and then just helping those people kind of through their last moments and stuff like that, and the families and stuff. It just kind of gives you more like peace within, because when that person they pass. Because when somebody passes, I can feel them leaving their body and the whole process altogether. And at sometimes I've even seen a feather on the floor from an angel, and I'll pick up that feather, and I've taken photos of it, right? Just of that feather. And whenever I pick up that feather, it melts away in my hand. It's not all the time that happens, right? So it just kind of, it's interesting, right? Like interesting. So
Amazing, amazing work.
yeah. So I was gonna go back to the Road to Dharma. There's so many things I love about it. Like, I mean, I could go on for hours about it, of course, right? And if nobody hasn't seen it, like you're crazy. Like you have to see it, right? Like
I
I'll put the
agree.
link.
I agree. They got to see it. It's
Yeah.
unique. It's really, you don't see shows like this on TV. You just
Well,
don't.
the only thing I was disappointed with it was I'm like, I wanted it to go on and on and on and on and on. And I'm like, what? No, I want to
Yeah.
see more episodes, right?
Season two. We'll shoot a season two.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, you have to. Yeah. See, that's right. I just love it. And like I was gonna say, like, I'm not gonna give it away, right, of what happens, of course, right? But
Okay.
one of my favorite episodes, of course, there's two of them. Well, all of them were for their own reasons, but it's the Shiva temple. Like when I saw that, right, like it really, because I do past life readings, it really took me back to my previous lifetimes and everything. And then I saw you actually with like in the Himalayas, the yoga, like in the caves and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, it just really like went right through me.
Mm.
That was amazing.
Was that Kedarnath episode 3? Yeah.
No,
Or
no.
maybe episode 5 where it was the Shiva temple and then above that
Yes,
is
yes,
Chandrashila. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, it
I
just really
know.
brought me back, like really, really brought me back. And also too, like like you swimming, like, oh my God, are you serious? I'm like,
I
are you
know.
serious? Right?
Right. Spoiler alert. We won't say it all, but in
No,
episode
I
9,
won't. Well, that's
9
right.
and 10. Yeah, episode 9 and 10.
Oh my
Something
God.
happened to me. Also, I don't mind like a little spoiler because really it's not a show where it's like I'm waiting to see what happens.
I found that after every episode, I'm like, oh my God. Like I
Okay.
literally binged it. Like I bought all of it because I'm like, no, I'm buying all of it. I don't want to miss any of it, right? And I
There is
literally, I'm like, okay, nobody bother me, right? I turn my phones off and I'm like, okay, this is my time. And I'm
yes.
just like, oh my God.
It's like a pilgrimage for you. Yes, it keeps you
Love
going,
it.
like what's going to happen. But meaning, if I said to someone, "Hey, I have some issues in episode 9 or 10," it's fine. Like the series will still keep you. It's the wisdom, it's the beauty, it's the characters underneath that'll really make you want to watch it again and again. To be honest,
Yes.
that's the forever the gift of it that you can come back to it, and it's not like, oh, do they make it?
Yeah.
Because we don't really care. It's not about if we make it or not. But
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not giving it away.
I,
I tell people, you want to see it, go buy it, go whatever, right? I
I
said, don't
gotta
ask me.
that episode 5 really is one of my favorites. It's
Yes.
really perfectly encapsulated. We go, just for those that are listening, we go to Chandrashila. It's called Tungnath. So first we go to the Shiva temple at 12,000, and then you go above Shiva to Chandrashila at 13,000. And that's the crescent moon on top of,
Oh, I
Shiva's
love
head, and,
that.
and it's shaped like a
Oh,
crescent moon. You're up there, and it's so silent up there, and you're at the top. You're looking out the Himalayas. So again, you want to see it. You want to be there. The music, there's a lot of music from
oh,
Wa, who is so dear to me, and gave us a few songs for that episode. And get the experience of everybody. Like some of the stuff we don't capture there is like the camp, the crew, and myself. We were just crying as soon as we got up there. Like we all
oh.
really were just. We don't know why. Like something came over us, and mostly the men were all. Anyway, it is one of my favorite episodes, the Tungnath, the Gap
Yeah.
episode. That's why there's more silence in it. That's where there's more space in the episode. And Tungnath, yeah, yeah, what a place to go.
Oh, I know. I've been trying to go to India every year for a
Yeah.
while, and I'm like, okay, divine timing, right? Totally. So let me ask you, what brings Adam peace? Like what brings you peace? Peace.
Everything. But um, I think I'm naturally at peace, and then it's usually like what takes me out of that peace. But to answer on a very tangible level, I love going to practice sattva yoga at the beach. I love jumping in the water and getting tossed around by the waves and doing that with a few friends. um, one, opening up that prana like that, moving the energy like that, and two, again, brings us back to like, oh yes, it moves, it's not stuck. I'm dynamic, and then cleansing in the ocean and playing like a kid, with your friends in the water, and then coming out, and it's like that's the shower, that's it. So that I love for setting my day, to get my day going is meditation, then go do yoga, and then jump in the water. Now that happens 2 or 3 times a week. And that, after that, everything just seems definitely okay. And it just reminds me like everything is okay. Everything is totally fine. So that brings me a lot of peace. Having people house for meditation, a lot of peace, and
Yeah.
reminds me of the peace that I am. And, even petting my cat, right, it
Yeah.
reminds me, a purring animal is powerful, powerful,
Vibration.
yeah, powerful vibration.
Yeah,
And
powerful.
And the redwoods, which I hope are doing okay with the fires right now, the redwoods bring a lot of
Yeah.
energy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I know. I love the woods. Like I love the trees. Like I can feel the energy and read the energy of all, pretty much everything, right? But I mean, I'm always connected with the trees, like the plant kingdom, always. And I'm like, they have a heartbeat. Like I literally can feel the vibration and the energy of it. And it's interesting how you go swimming. Like I'm a beach, ocean type, warm climate person myself, right? And water, it's really good for empaths because water represents emotions too. So whenever you're swimming, you're getting really in touch with your emotions to balance it out. And I love that.
nice. I love that you have an explanation for right for things like, hey, this is what's going on. And, I'm just like, I just love jumping in the water and body surfing, with my buddies, and catching a good wave, and the mother just crashing me, and yesterday she set me straight. It didn't look strong, and then we rode a couple waves, and she was just crushing us. Like I lost my breath, and I love that, also that feeling of humbled.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
uh,
I remember one time I was in Hawaii and like I've had several near-death experiences, but when I was in Hawaii one time, long story, but I was like on a little air mattress. I didn't want to be bothered by anybody. I didn't want anybody near me. And I had kind of forgotten. I was just kind of floating away, not paying attention. And then I'm like, okay, something weird. I'm feeling something weird. And I turn around and this like massive wave, like out of nowhere, it like swept me. And like my air mattress went like, I don't know how high in the air. I went down like into some currents. They were sweeping me away. And I was upset. And I'm like, you know what? If you're gonna take me now, if this is the way to do it, then just do it. Like just do it already, right?
wow.
And I seriously thought I was gonna die at that time. And then out of like nowhere, this is pretty much what happens, right? But I literally saw this like the hugest hand and arm like in the whole world, like come pick me up under the waves and brought me on top of the water. And then my air mattress just all of a sudden like landed right beside me. And I'm like, what just happened? And I'm like, okay, it's not my time yet.
Wow.
Right. And I was just kind of looking around and then I'm like, oh my God, like where the beach was. I'm like that was like a way away. And I'm like, how did, right?
I know it's real. It's really real. Episode 9, episode 10 for
I
everyone. It's
know.
same stuff. Same stuff.
That's
Yeah.
why I connected like that. That's the thing, right? I connect with so many things, so many things. And when I saw that one episode, without going into details, of course, then I'm like, oh my God, like it totally brought me back to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are real moments for sure.
So answer this. You already have, but my life force is fulfilled when?
My life force is fulfilled
Yeah,
when?
my life force is fulfilled when?
Oh, my life force is fulfilled. No, it is already fulfilled, but right, my life force is absolutely fulfilled, but it still, you know, desires to express more in the film world. So my life force really feels like it's in its dharma when it's creating um, inspirational film. So like the Road to Dharma literally is my dharma. another couple of projects I'm working on, this feels like what I'm here to do. Everything built up to allow me to do this, be it just my ability to teach, my ability to write, and my ability to even be in front of camera too. They all come together to a certain extent in that series. But yeah, so when I'm doing that, that's what I'm here for, as well as so that feels fulfilling in a major way, and fulfills my life force and what it's here to do. But I wouldn't limit it to that, you know. Like at the same time, I could go live on a commune and not necessarily make films. Not yet. I know I still need to be making films for a while
Oh
longer.
yeah,
And
for quite
really,
some time.
probably my whole life to be involved in the socialness of things, but
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be a big level is what I mean. Like just the Monday nights being here and having holding space for people, or a few of us going to the beach and doing yoga, like bringing myself and other people into alignment together. It's like, yeah, that's what we're here to do. We're not here to bring each other down. We're here to kind of remind each other and lift up when we're all having a tough time.
yeah,
So in general, it's that, and I love the specific part of making films.
absolutely. Well, you're so good at it, Adam. Like so
Oh,
good
thank
at
you. And they're fun. They're hard, you know. They're a
it. I
challenge.
know.
They're coming of age, and they're fun. And the storytelling part is fun. Like God, the Road to Dharma is so fun to write.
Oh yeah,
It's because you know I'm dealing with Anand. I get to use him as a main character, and he makes it easy. You know, when you have a guru that's really spouting that wisdom, it
yeah,
makes it easy to tie in those themes because he speaks to it so
yeah,
dark clearly. Like in episode 7, when he's talking to Ryan in the Valley of the Flowers. Again, for people that haven't seen, there's this scene in the Valley of Flowers that is unedited. It's perfectly set, like with the Himalayas, this rock path, and two men having such an authentic conversation, and no word is lost. And it's all about personal power, and when you need to stand in your personal power and say something and speak up and stop, you know, cowering and just be who you are already, right? And man, not a word is lost. Anand is so on point, and we don't add. You can tell it's just a 3 or 4 minute, you know, locked off thing that we're capturing, and thankfully are right there. And it, you know, that's why I'm really thankful for him. He's so good to be able to follow and film and share. God, that is fun. I love it.
So, what is your definition of God?
My definition. Uh, every time I make a joke, that's my definition of God. Every time I can laugh, that's my definition of God. Like I really, uh, we're so unique as humans. We can laugh, and for some reason, it's so unique. So I think God is in the humor. My definition of God is our ability to lighten up and expand and laugh, and that's what God is to me. And of course, God is also life, and life is everything, and consciousness is everything. So there.
So, if you could change like one thing in the world besides COVID, we won't even get into that,
I wouldn't change. Okay.
right? Okay, no, but if you could change one thing in this world, what would it be and why besides COVID?
Yeah, I would get rid of anger. You know, I would have all people be able to drop anger at a moment's notice, to still see it, but to be able to drop anger and resentment. And I think the world would naturally change if we were less angry and less holding on to trauma and resentment toward others. You know, how many wars would start if there was no anger, really? If there was just like compassion and listening, more than likely, you know, even the greed usually comes from an anger or reaction to the past. Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, I would, as much as I like anger, you know, and
Yeah.
I
We
don't
all
mind
have to have that
it.
anger at times, right? Because anger, can transcend you, I
Yes,
find.
yes,
It really can, right? It's like pain, right? Like pain can really transcend and shift you forward in such a huge way and actually bring you into your purpose and calling,
yes.
from what I've found.
So it's like the caveat to like there not wanting to be anger is meaning that we all know how to the skill of transcending anger like really quickly and use it the right
Yeah.
way. That would be what I would want to change, that we all have that skill. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I mean, even certain situations that you know, like somebody is saying to me, whatever it is, if it's something, you know, harmful, let's say, I just start laughing because I'm just looking and I'm like, I'm not going to even like respond. I just start laughing and I walk away and I'm like, really? Right. You know,
Yes.
because that's their journey and stuff like that. And I won't lower myself down to somebody's standards. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, yeah, the
Right.
darks, the spheres of hate and shame. Yeah, I get
Yeah. So out of all your films, right? Because I know, of course, you've done a lot. Is there like, do you have one favorite more than the others? I know, of course, every film has its own uniqueness
yeah, no,
and
the Road to Dharma is my favorite right
oh
now.
yeah, yeah,
Because well, it's the most recent I've released, you know, and the patience it took to unleash and create, and it's 10 episodes, you know, it's like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
there's a course with it, you know, like we really put a lot into it. We said, okay, let's make these chapters to go with each episode and meditations to go with each episode, and the bonus footage. It is my favorite because I feel like we've created something that can really, really take someone on a journey, can really impact your life. You know, I think you're moving, you know, partly it inspired you. It's not us doing it, it's kind of us turning the key in people and reminding them of the power they have within, the freedom they have within. And that's why I really love that series. It's really what I wanted to share. It took a darn long time and a lot of persistence, but
it was worth it.
yeah, it was worth it. It's really what I wanted to say, and I think I had during the process needed to mature as a filmmaker and be some certain place for it to finally birth. And I just love it. I want people to watch it. I want to share it. It's the thing I recommend the most highly for anyone that's at all like on the path. You know and that doesn't mean you have to do yoga or meditation. It's just like you feel some kind of inner calling of like there's something more to this whole thing. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, this will help you maybe put words to what you're feeling.
yeah. Because even sometimes you can just see a sentence or anything that can spark something. That happens to me,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like sometimes, you know, the more you watch it, the more you learn about your own self of like facing fears and stuff like that. Lots of different things, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many good things about it. Like I could go on and on and on, of course, but you know, so like what are you grateful for? Like what are you grateful for really? I know of course there's many things, right? But
Oh, I'm grateful for this time to be able to reflect on these movies. I'm grateful for, you know, your energy and passion behind it. I'm grateful for it being sunny out right now and the health that we have, the health that the animals here have. That wasn't always as such. My cat went through a nice journey to be healthy. Grateful for the resources that we all have to be able to share things, you know, and yeah, really, I think mostly grateful for the wisdom I've been taught, you know, by the teachers and gurus and the books and India. Mostly grateful for that. Aside from just being alive, you know, mostly grateful for the wisdom that people thought I was worthy of receiving. So
oh, absolutely.
grateful for that. Yeah.
So what do you want to be remembered for? So if you were passing today or tomorrow, let's say, what, and if I was there and I'm like, okay, Adam, like, what is the one thing that you'd really want people to remember you for? What would that be?
I don't know. I don't know. Whatever you want is fine. You can say whatever you want at the eulogy.
Let's all wing it for Adam.
Yeah, just wing it. That's it. I want to be remembered for winging it. No, for allowing you the space to have whatever. I want to be remembered for allowing you to have the space to speak about me however you like, and remember the part that you like and that inspired you the most and helped you out. So if that's a film or if that's a comment or a smile, then great. You know, I guess I'm saying use me however you like. It's a bit slutty of me, isn't it? But
Yeah,
remember me however you want.
remember the roast of Adam.
The roast.
The roast of
God, I
Adam.
would love to be roasted once I'm passed. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. So is there any like last thing you want to really share with us about you, or is there any like new projects you want to talk about, or because I know you've also worked on Woman of was
Oh, Women of the White Buffalo. Yeah, Women of the White
yeah,
Buffalo was a
yeah.
There's plenty of new projects that I'm always developing and pitching, but Women the White Buffalo, again, was one of those films that it came to me at a time when I was very busy, but I couldn't say no. Deborah Anderson, who's the daughter of John Anderson, who's the lead singer of Yes, the band Yes, and he did a song in my first film, The Highest Pass. And so A, there's that connection. His daughter says, I have this idea for a film. And B, it's about the Native Americans, specifically Lakota people. And I was really raised with a great appreciation, not enough history of it, but a great appreciation for the native ways and respect. So I couldn't say no. And I'm really glad that I didn't. And that project moved fast, and I got to spend a good 4 to 5 weeks on the Lakota reservation. And the film is amazing. It's not actually released yet publicly, which is crazy, because it's been shown in festivals, and it's a really beautiful film. It needs to be shared, but it highlights the murdered and missing Indigenous women. But deeper than that, it goes to the root of where the wisdom tradition was lost, and how the feminine and the matriarch really holds the key for that culture of rebuilding itself, and possibly the key for us remembering, us meaning Western civilization, remembering what's important, the wisdom and the connection, which thankfully is just being spoken about more. But Native American peoples are still very mis and underrepresented when it comes to their voice. Just to learn something like the Sundance tradition, their spiritual tradition was illegal until the mid 1970s, I believe. And so that, religious freedom, but not for you. That stuff should be jaw dropping for people, that to realize that our country, that the United States of America has a very terrible past. And we need to embrace that and understand what we've done on a lot of levels, so that we can, just live differently.
Oh, absolutely. There's so much coming out, right, that has been covered for so many years as well. Like, I never watch the news or anything, but every now and then I'll catch certain things, right, like on social media or whatever like that. And a lot's been uncovered, even in Canada, with all these bodies, Native children.
Yeah, Canada.
Hundreds were found and stuff,
Oh my
like
gosh.
like in schools, like hundreds, not a couple, like children buried in graves. Like it's just like, wow.
Wow.
Like, wow, so many things like that is going on right now. And that's the thing, like the darkness always gets exposed and stuff like that. And people can try to cover up so many different things, but it always comes out. And if you look at how it's all coming out now, and has been recently, it really says a lot. So the darkness always gets exposed. You can't run from karma, as I call it, right? It always comes out one way or another.
True.
So
True. Yeah, that should give us good hope in that way. And
yeah,
we speed that up a little bit through film. And
yeah,
it's a good one. So when it comes out, people should check it out. And be on the film side, yeah, it's like I know like people can get overwhelmed with like all the darkness that's out there and needs to be uncovered. And what do you mean, like we need to face our shadows? It just means like we need to have an honest conversation about what we've done. It's not like what you've done. You weren't there killing the natives, but what's happened here in this country. Let's have an honest discussion about. It doesn't mean there's even any action items even necessarily, but let's talk about it, and then hopefully shift the awareness of our children and all the generations of what's come before, so that you can put into perspective what you are now and what we might want for our country in the future. Like, because don't repeat that, And if you think this country has always been the grandest, most beautiful beacon of freedom, you're wrong. It's not. It's an imperialist nation. Like there's a sordid history that we can rechange our framework of freedom and rechange our framework of like the greatest nation of earth. Let's make it that then, okay? And you don't get to that. You don't get to that growth unless you have the conversations of how you've been bad in the past. Like just like a human, right? So that's a cool movie for that. That's for sure. And the Road to Dharma and The Highest Pass and Heal are all cool movies on the individual, right? So I think it's very similar. You work on the individual on times, and at times you're working on the societal issues. But it's all very similar.
yeah. I think, like even with Heal, which is another really good one too. I think more is going to come out of that, like another Heal film, right? I can literally see that going on, right? Without going into details, of course, but yeah, it's extraordinary, and all divine timing coming out for the universal force to see and pay attention and open their mind for more awareness and stuff like that. And it's I've noticed that like with certain people, that, you know, they're awakening so much more. Like even people, like I'll get a message and I'm like what, you know, like I can see just how much they are opened and they have really transformed. And I'm like, that's like night and day, right?
Right.
And then I'm like so grateful for them, you know, that they're actually seeing that to help them, right? So
Sure. Beautiful.
yeah. Well,
Beautiful.
you know, like I know you're busy, Adam, and I really want to thank you for taking the time,
Sure.
you know, to chat with me today. I really do.
Absolutely. It's nice to connect with you and talk, just even you and I, just together.
Yeah.
But I know there's an audience out there that we're speaking to as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Oh, yeah.
we would have talked about episode 9 and 10. We would have jumped in there.
Oh, they've
Uh,
got to watch it.
we
Like,
got to watch it. We had left that for them. But no, I really appreciate you having such passion for the work that you do, the work in general, and for sharing the films. I really appreciate it, and so I'm thankful. Thank you.
oh, of course. Of course. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I want to thank everyone who's going to watch this and so on and so on. People really need to see it to really get to know your films as well. Right. And, you know, just everybody stay tuned for another episode at divine timing of Soul to Soul Connections with Jeni Ji. So subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to stay tuned in. You know, go look out or go look for Adam, right? I'll put links anyways, how people connect with you or whatever like that. And I really highly recommend that people do see like all your films, you know, like especially Road to Dharma, right? Like it's and they can watch it forever. Like that's one thing I really like about it is I can watch it forever, and I will. Like I'm like, okay, you know what? Now that I'm making my life where I can kind of work around it myself, where I can actually have a life now. Hallelujah. You know, I can actually now enjoy it more, right? Watch it
Yeah.
anytime I
There
want.
you
11
go.
o'clock at night, I can't sleep. I'll watch Road to Dharma, right? Or the highest pass or anything like that, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
So thank you again, Adam. I'm truly, truly, truly grateful. I really am for you taking the time.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Take care, everyone. So subscribe to my channel. Go check out Adam's films. All right. Okay.